anything at all.
And yet, you did it remarkably well.
His tone was mild, but she could hear the smile in his voice. She wasn't entirely sure if she should thank him for that or slap him. She decided to accept his comment as a compliment and not allow her own sense of impropriety, or possibly guilt, to make it something else. Not that she had anything to feel guilty about. It was not as if she was an innocent virgin who had escaped the notice of an unsuspecting chaperone to run amok amid the men of New York. She was an adult, a widow, and financially independent as well. If she wished to have a scandalous interlude in a hotel room in a city she fully planned never to visit again, with a man she had barely met and planned as well never to see again, it was her decision. Still, it wasn't at all like her, and she wasn't certain what had come over her.
There.
A note of satisfaction sounded in his voice. Excellent. She glanced around and found the gown she had discarded last night. When she had first decided to wear the costume of a Dresden shepherdess to last night's masked ball, she had thought it charming, if a touch risque. But then why not be a little risque? It wasn't as if anyone knew her here, and it was a masked ball after all. Besides, it was time, past time really, to try something a little different in her life. The costume was as much an effort to be someone other than Delilah, Lady Hargate, as was throwing caution to the winds and indulging in this intimate encounter with a man she scarcely knew. Now she realized it was a mistake, not the costume, although that probably was a mistake as well. But this night of, well, sin, for lack of a better word. She was who she was, and one certainly couldn't change that sort of thing about a person, even if one wished to. She was not the type of woman to wear risque costumes, and she was not the type of woman to join a virtual stranger in his bed. Not that it hadn't been most enjoyable, and a great deal of fun. She pushed the thought aside. Now was not the time. Regardless of the mutual enjoyment of the last few hours, this wasn't something she would do again. Ever. She'd had her moment of adventure. It was over and done with, and best put behind her. Which she intended to do as soon as she could escape from his room. She turned away and stepped into the flounced and beribboned gown, pulled it up, slipped her arms into the puffed sleeves, and then tightened the laces on the bodice. As complicated as the gown appeared, it had been leased from an agency that provided costumes for theatrical productions, and was constructed to be easily put on and taken off, which had served her well last night. She groaned to herself. Too well, really. That's that, then. She turned toward him and forced a smile. Thank you for a lovely evening, Mr.
Russell.
A slight smile curved the corners of his lips.
Samuel Russell.
Of course, she said with more than a little indignation. I do know your name. His brow quirked upward.
Forgive me. I thought perhaps you'd forgotten.
I would not forget the name of the man I had just... She glanced at the rumpled bed. Well, I would not forget your name, that's all.
Delilah.
He stepped toward her.
I will never forget anything about last night.
He smiled in an altogether too smug manner, his overall air of satisfaction heightened by the deep blue silk dressing gown he wore. If one had an image in one's mind of what a man would wear after a night of wild abandon, a dark blue silk dressing gown would certainly be included, as would a smug smile.
Or this morning, for that matter.
This morning? Good Lord. I must be going. She drew a deep breath. I should thank you for a lovely evening.
No.
He took her hand and raised it to his lips.
It is I who should thank you.
She snatched her hand away. Yes, well, be that as it may. She paused to marshal her senses. It was not at all easy. Mr. Russell, Samuel, was dashing in a rugged American sort of way, and in many ways the kind of man she'd secretly found fascinating in her youth. Not now, of course. Still, there was an air of excitement about him.